Hi, this is Heidi Connolly, author, medium, musician, and intuitive coach with your dose of down-to-earth spirituality. Today, we're talking truth about panic attacks, which, especially at this time of year, are super common due to the highly stressful holiday season. First off, let me just say that panic attacks may not be what you think. So, after a brief discussion, I'll offer you a few tips for completely shifting how you see them and handle them. Let's start with the basics. Who has panic attacks? Two kinds of people. Those who have been beaten down their whole lives by feelings of anxiety and ended up in a constant anxious state to one degree or another. And those who have built up great walls of defense around their feelings of anxiety in order to counteract them. Whichever you might be, panic attacks are what happen when something happens to cause those protective walls to come crashing down. The thing is that both are forms of resistance. In the first case, we're talking about resistance to one's own innate truth and the ability to live inside that truth without fear. In the second case, we're also talking about resistance to one's own innate truth and the ability to live inside that truth without fear. In both cases, resistance is the key. Panic attacks are a physical and emotional response, one that tells us to shut down, that there's a complete system failure and we're crashing. Where does that response come from? From all the years, potentially from birth, that you have been told you need to shut down in order to be okay. So you won't be harassed, embarrassed, or demeaned for your sensitive nature, or your neediness, or your lack. It is this reaction to who we really are that ultimately creates the bullies and the victims of the world. Bullies and victims generally start out as highly sensitive, or simply sensitive, individuals who are told they shouldn't be who they are and they shouldn't act the way they do. This means right from the beginning, we're shutting down our authentic selves to please others. When we learn that fighting against what we're told is not much of an option, and fleeing is not something we can do, there's only one other mode of response: freezing. Freezing in response to external factors may sound like a decent option, but in reality all it does is freeze you in a state of constant defensiveness and fear. Fear of discovery, fear of attack, fear that life will always be hard. Often, we end up frozen in a state of panic. The thing is, what looks like a duck and quacks like a duck is not necessarily a duck. Being highly sensitive is, in reality, a good thing, unless it leads to this kind of resistant dysfunction. Because over time, it leads to chronic anxiety, often accompanied by depression, symptoms of PTSD, and lots of physical ailments like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. The first thing is understanding the difference between sensitivity and perceptivity. Most of us have been taught that sensitivity equates to weakness. Sensitivity means being too emotional and unable to be reasonable or logical. I'm here to call bullshit on that by changing that one little word. Instead of sensitivity, let's start calling it for what it is: perception. In other words, differentiating emotional, poor me responses from, wow, look at me, my perception opens the door for understanding so much more of what I experience in the world. Yay! The second thing is understanding panic attacks from this new perspective. shifting from the belief that being highly perceptive, what I call a HyPerceptive, is something that hurts you, to the belief that increased levels of HyPerceptivity is a powerful gift. We learn that our responses to the external environment are not caused by that external environment. They are caused by something we are doing. Now, before you freak out and think I'm saying it's all your fault, let me explain. The general trend is to interpret panic attacks and other reactions to an emotional cause, when in actuality it's an energetic experience that becomes a somatic, in the body experience. You see, HyPerceptives naturally form our relationships through our innate sense of compassion, empathy, our ability to sympathize. In essence, we are forever sending out energetic tentacles to get a feel for people and the environment. So what we're doing is constantly trolling around, seeking out, digging into, and globbing onto people and their emotional, mental, and physical states of being. Their fear, their anger, their oblivion, their confusion, their anxiety, and so on. Because we do this unconsciously, we are 100% of the time out of alignment with our truest higher selves. The environment outside of us is now living inside of us. So profound is our unconscious tendency to use our psychic octopus, this is mine, in a backward way that we walk around clueless that we're living our lives inside other people. When we do that, it's easy to believe that those emotional states, their feelings, are our own. Instead, we need to reel in our tentacles to remain in the vibration of our unique energetic alignment and stay out of everyone else's. 3 tips for reeling in your psychic octopus tentacles for an anxiety-free life are: 1. Start calling your sensitivity what it really is, a gift, the ability for high levels of empowered perception. 2. Start seeing emotional responses as energy. The result of this renaming alone will knock your socks off. 3. Start noticing when you suddenly feel differently, especially when some emotion takes you over unexpectedly. Instead of looking for some external cause, your boyfriend didn't call, your online purchase is frustrating you because it's not going through, ask, are my psychic tentacles reeled all the way in so I am in my own body, my own alignment? Next time, I'll talk about how to get into that alignment, back into what I call your unique energetic signature, so you never have to leave it ever again. Thanks for spending time with me, and remember, HyPerceptivity is a gift, one that we can all use to uplift the world. And if what I've shared with you today resonates, please like and share. Please share the message and subscribe to my channel. You can visit me at HeidiConnolly.com. I would love to hear from you.